The impact of coronavirus (COVID-19) on global economy and prompt measures. World is facing biggest threat to the global economy through ongoing spread of the coronavirus (COVID-19). Global economy, international markets, financial institutions are facing challenges to overcome the situation and economic fallout from the pandemic and global crises. Coronavirus was detected in Wuhan City in December 2019. Wuhan is the sprawling capital of central China's Hubei province and is a commercial center divided by the Yangtze and Han rivers. Due to this pandemic COVID-19, more than 95,718 deaths have been recorded globally, of which most have been in Europe. Since the virus first emerged, and 1,601,018 cases have been registered in 200 countries and different territories around the world. To contain the COVID-19 outbreak, Chinese government locked down cities and suspended its operations. It heavily impacted and slowed down world's second-largest economy and dragged down the global economy along the way. Hence, all countries have taken very strong measures and followed the precautions of World Health Organization (WHO), and concerned governments went for lockdown to slow down the spread of COVID-19. Market insight. The fear of COVID-19 has impacted the global economy, especially international markets, financial institutions, plunging the stock prices and bond yields. Global financial markets, stakeholders reacted strongly when the virus spread from China to Europe, USA, South Asia and Middle East, stoking fears of global pandemic. The market leaders are of the view whether the market drawdown signals a recession, how bad COVID-19 recessions would be, and what are the scenarios are for growth and recovery, and when there will be any lasting structure input from the unseen crises. The coronavirus pandemic rips through countries. Governments are shutting down whole commercial sectors to stop the spread of COVID-19, putting a massive crimp in GDP for months to come. On the economic front, a severe recession can no longer be avoided, and some economists and financial experts are apprising for governments to introduce measures to shore up the aggregate demand. But that recommendation is inadequate, given that the global economy is suffering from an unprecedented supply shock. Most of the people in different countries are not at work because they are sick or quarantined. In such situation, demand stimulus will merely boost inflation, potentially leading to stagflations, as happened in 1970 oil crises, when another important production input was in short supply. The policymakers must consider various forms of tax relief and public guarantees to help firms borrow if necessary. Europe's major economies are losing 3% of GDP output for every month, because key sectors are shut down to try to slow down the spread of the COVID-19. Global economy was already in recession, and countries must respond with massive spending to avoid a cascade of bankruptcies and emerging market debt defaults. The impact of COVID-19 on global stock markets. U.S. stock market. If we analyze the impact of COVID-19 on global stock markets, in USA most of the investors are reluctant and were put on edge. Wall Street also suffered worst of its quarterly performance since 2008. The main investors had reservations due to President Trump's remarks about COVID-19 outbreak in the U.S. to face a rapid spread. And projection of the number of deaths from 100,000 to 250,000 in coming weeks that would be very painful. So, these remarks raised fears in the minds of investors, stakeholders, and impact on the world's largest economy to experience the unprecedented disruption. Global stock markets are also affected due to COVID-19 with regard to different sectors, industries, small businesses, and households. The current global stock market scenario likewise from US, Canada, Europe, Middle East and Asia is drawn below that how this pandemic impacted the global economy and got all the investors worried and reluctant to invest in the stock markets and new investments in different sectors. Prompt measures by G20 leaders. On March 26, 2020. G20 nations came together for an extraordinary virtual G20 summit chaired by the custodian King Salman to discuss the impact of coronavirus pandemic on the global economy. In his opening remarks, King Salman has said that G20 countries should resume the normal flow of goods and services, including vital medical supplies as soon as possible to help restore confidence in the global economy. The group injected over $5 trillion into the global economy as a part of targeted fiscal policy economic measures and guarantee schemes to blunt economic fallout from the pandemic. Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary-General of UN, was among those taking part, stressing that we are at war with a virus and not winning it. He urged for concerted actions to suppress the virus and to minimize the social and economic impact of the pandemic. Mr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General (WHO), has delivered 3 messages to leaders: fight, unite and ignite. He added that first, fight hard. Fight like hell. Fight like your lives depend on it, because they do. He welcomed the G20's initiative to find joint solutions and work together, as this is a global crisis that requires a global response.